Wooden rib, rubber rib, metal rib. Which one should you choose and how do you use them? I'd like to share with you the ribs that I use the most for my pottery. I've also provided links below to my favorite ribs if you'd like to purchase them. Let's start with the wooden rib. The wooden rib is the brute of the bunch. It is sturdy with a blunt edge. It's the rib to use when you want to push around some clay. When the clay is spinning, the gravity is throwing the clay outwards. The wooden rib helps me tame gravity and keeps the clay from flaring out. I have both hands gripping the rib so I can steady it and apply a good amount of pressure against the wall. Notice how the rib can connect with more surface area than my fingers. Here I rock the curved side of the rib to slowly push the rim of the clay to a more controllable inward angle. Keeping your hands connected while holding the rib can keep your rib steady as you work. Another great use of the wooden rib is to create a profile for the clay wall. For example, if I want this to be a straight wall, I put one hand inside and then gently push the clay outward towards the wooden rib until the outer wall is flat to the straight edge of the rib. The sturdy nature of this rib is also handy for creating texture. In this case, I'm making a simple design into the fresh clay. You can get more creative and really carve into the clay to make a more wavy design, like I did on this shell pot. Of course, if you ever decide to quit pottery, you can always use the ribs as wind chimes. Let's move on to the rubber rib. If you're hand building and rolling out slabs, it's important to rib the clay to smooth it and bring air bubbles to the surface. You can see the imperfection here. The rubber rib is a good choice for this job, as it has a sharper edge and is more flexible than the wooden rib. It's important to rib east and west and north and south to lessen the slab's chance of warping. Notice how I hold the rib. I slightly curve it outward to avoid slicing into the clay and then apply soft pressure at an angle. Now when I'm throwing on the wheel, the red rib is my favorite for smoothing the walls. I first wet the clay with a damp sponge and then apply the rib to begin the smoothing process. It may look like I'm scraping off a lot of clay, but it's actually just the topmost layer of slurry. Because the rubber rib is flexible, I can bend it to better follow the contour of the vase's profile without marring the surface. That flexibility also comes in handy when I want to smooth the inside of one of my pieces. Notice how I hold it tightly between my fingers so I can insert it without disturbing the integrity of the rim. I will lightly skim the walls while holding some pressure on the outside. In a pinch, the red rib also makes for a nice catapult. Watch out, George! Finally, let's talk about the metal rib. It has the sharpest edge of all and is my choice for finishing. For ribbing a slab, use the metal rib after the rubber rib to get the surface super smooth. Slightly bend it and hold it at an angle like this to skim off the last of the imperfections. When I'm throwing on the wheel, I use the metal rib to remove any remaining slurry and burnish the pot. Notice I'm taking off very little clay here. This is like the process of shaving, where the razor removes the last of the short hair stubble. Another way to use this rib is to create some sharp border lines for distinction between the bottom of the pot, the middle, and the top. The metal rib is handy for cleaning up the rims of the pieces as well. Finally, when you need to clean away the clay from your bat, metal rib to the rescue. It's like a metal scraper, makes it easy to clean up. After a long hard day in the studio, I also like to use my Ginsu rib to cut up veggies for my salad. If you like our videos, please subscribe and share them. Our goal is to unite the world through pottery. See you next time.